Hello everyone, and welcome to this video that will show you how to install Unity on your device. As you can see, I'm already on the Unity website at www.unity.com, and I'm going to first start by creating an ID. If you look on the top right corner of the website here, there's a little icon showing a profile picture, which is the standard or default one because nobody's signed in. So if you click on that icon there, you can choose the option to create a Unity ID. On that page here, you will be required to provide your email address, select a password, select a username, and enter your full name. Note that if for any of these options, mainly the email and the username, if those options have already been used, you will be prompted to select something else. Once you have entered all of the information required in those text boxes, you need to make sure to check the terms of use and the privacy policy. This checkbox has to be selected. The next one is just for receiving promotional materials from Unity. If you wish to receive such materials, then check. Otherwise, just leave it unchecked. And you also have to prove that you're not a robot by checking the I'm not a robot option. Here you just have to check. Once all of that information is completed, you can create a Unity ID. Note that you can also choose to sign in with Google or sign in with Facebook. Now that we have set up our ID, the next step is to actually proceed to the install. The easiest way to access all of the different versions of Unity is to go through the archive. So you can type in Unity download archive. And when I do this, the first result is usually the correct one, the one that's from the Unity 3D website. When I click on it, I get to have the list of the different versions of Unity available there. So when this loads here, you can select the version that is recommended for the semester you're currently enrolled in. If you're in fall 2020, then 2020.1.2 is the version of Unity that you're looking for. You can download for Windows, download for Mac, or using the Unity Hub, and I'm going to go through the Unity Hub. I already have it installed on my machine, so I won't have all of the steps that you will be required to have. Make sure that you log in as you download the Unity Hub and as it opens up. So here I'm already logged in. It's possible that you're going to have some issues. I'm going to close this for a second. So make sure that you log in here into your account. And also, if you're having some issues with the license, you can go under your settings here by clicking on the gear icon, and their license management, you can just activate a new license. You would be choosing Unity Personal, and then just select that you don't use Unity in a professional capacity. Once you have entered that information, you can click on Done. Now, I'm not going to use this option because I already have the license activated, but these are the options that you would select and click on Done. This is also the place where you would come back and check for updates on your license if needed. So I can go back here, get out of the preferences and go back to the main area, and I can go under the Installs tab and add a new install, or you can just download it straight from the website, whichever way works for you. So here you get access to multiple versions of Unity as well. I'm going to still go for the 2020.1.2. Once I have selected my option there, I can click on Next. I get to select different modules to install. So I'm going to uncheck Android build support because that's not something that's required for you. The previous install I had it on, that's why it was pre-selected, but you do not need this. You can click on Microsoft Visual Studio if that's what you're planning on using. You could also use Visual Studio Code, and in that case download that independently. And then if you scroll down, I would recommend that you download as well the documentation for when you're creating your projects to get additional help. So once you have selected these options here, you can click on Next and agree to the terms for the Visual Studio Community License terms. Click on done when that's done, and then you can see the install is in progress. So I'm going to pause the video at this time and meet you again once the download is completed. One thing that I did not mention is that all of the options that are available, for example, for including Android build support or WebGL or whichever other items, you can always go back and install those later. Like here you can see that my download and install has been completed, and if I use those three little dots here and click on them, I can add modules there. And so whatever you may have missed originally with this portion of the install, you can always go back and fix it. So if I wanted to go back and add Android build support, for example, I could check this option and then let that be added to my Unity install. So if you had missed anything and your instructor wanted you to do that, add whatever support was needed, platform support was needed, then in that case you could go back here, just use the three little dots next to the version that you are looking to include the modules with, and then select add modules. You can also choose to uninstall them as well. If you had some older versions that you want to remove from your machine, you can definitely remove them from there. So that's one of the great things about the Unity Hub. It's actually making it kind of convenient to manage the different installs that you may have on your machine. So this kind of sets up a little bit the install. It's pretty much completed. Let's go ahead and create a new project. So here I'm going to go under my projects here, and I'm going to use my new button here to create a new project. So again, make sure you select projects here on your menu on the left, and then the new version. If you had multiple versions of Unity on your machine, then use the drop down menu here and select the version you wish to create the project in. By default, it will select the most up-to-date version. So that's something that's important to know. When I click on new here, it's going to offer different options. So let's say, just to begin, we're going to open up a 3D project here. You have a couple of settings that you can change. The first one is the name of your project. So maybe you have your install project, I'm going to call it, and then I'm going to use underscored, and I'm going to use my last name. Make sure to follow here the proper information for the assignments that you have to complete. I don't know what this assignments might be, so this information will vary from project to project, but you will always create them in the same way. Choose a location where you wish to save your project. I'm going to go under classes, maybe I'll do it under 113. I'm going to select that folder there. So make sure to first select the name of your project and then where you want to save the project, and then click on create. And this is going to take a minute or so to fire up, maybe a little bit more if this is the first time firing up Unity. You may have a Defender firewall message, just allow access, and then let the initialization process. I will meet you as soon as my Unity is up. My Unity project is now opened up. You can see different things about Unity. One of the aspects that I'm just going to point out is to change your software to edit the code. So you can go in to that effect under Edit, Preferences, and you will get a window for preferences that will open up. And if you select the option on the left hand side, External Tools, here by default Visual Studio Community will be installed. Check with your instructor and trying to find out what other software they may want you to use. You can use Visual Studio Code there if you wanted to use it. The main difference between Visual Studio Community versus Visual Studio Code is that for what we're doing, Visual Studio Code is sufficient, and it opens up a lot faster. So if you need to change from the Visual Studio Code to, or from the community to the code, then you can do it this way in the preferences there. So once that's done, you can close the window. I'm going to save my project and close it, and then show you how to open up that project later on. So I'm going to save the scene. I didn't make any changes to it. I guess I could add Let's add a cube in it just to make it a little different. So I'm going to save my scene. I'm going to save my project since I changed some of the settings for it. And then I'm going to exit. And to reopen Unity, then I can just open up the Unity Hub. I'm going to add here, my project is already showing here, but if your project doesn't show up, just click on Add in the project section there, and then navigate to the location of your project. So I believe I placed this under Classes 113, and the name of the project was Install Project World. So I can just select that folder there. And then here I can just click on my project. Notice you can find the version of Unity that you have in the project created in, and then you can use the drop-down menu here to change the version of Unity you wish to use. So oftentimes you would want to avoid changing Unity versions within the same project to avoid any kind of a data loss, I'll say. But that's an option that's available if you needed to. And then just click on the project and it should open up relatively faster than the first time we opened up the first project or when we created it. And there it is. And this concludes the video. I hope that this video was helpful to you. Until I see you again, bye-bye.